Well, you know what they say. For every broom that is used to sweep you under your feet, you have little Mary Poppins hoping whatever she has in her mouth is going down. 'Cause Bloody Mary, I be popping that cherry. I just came up with that. Oh, Jesus. Yeah. That's what we do on this podcast. Make a lot of sexual innuendos at the expense of woman's fertility and cleansing, self-cleansing. Because I am a douchebag. Because I will cleanse everything that's wrong within you. And I'll fuck up your pH balance. So yeah. Drink your alkaline water, ladies. All right. Welcome to episode 218 of the Off and Beat podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, but most important, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties. Oh, yeah. Recording this on September 17th. Technically, yeah. September 17th at 12:17 a.m. Eastern, about halftime of the Colorado game, which apparently Colorado football is like the most interesting thing in the world right now. Like, literally, there was someone on YouTube. Nah, I don't want to out them, but you know what? Fuck it. Don't give me that look, you dirty cat. But people, you know, that will college football, like, I think the thing is, like, with college football, there's so many games and there's not really much of a TV right. Like, the TV companies don't really care that much if people are just live streaming the fucking games. Because there's no, like, college football pack, you know? Or, like, NFL, like, if you show, like, 10 seconds of a game, your account gets banned. You know, the FBI showing up to your house, and you're going to prison for 15 years. And then you get your pension taken away because you're a former player. But since, you know, your health care doesn't go on forever since you didn't exceed the minimum amount of years that you played. Because, you know, you now have brain damage and Alzheimer's. And so he's just trying to make a quick buck. But yeah, college football does not care. And like, literally, this dude was live streaming the game. He started a week or two ago. Like, the first Colorado game that was streamed, it was literally like, he was like actively 70,000 people on this YouTube channel. Like, not a big name, not a lot of subscribers. Now the dude already has 100K subscribers. Literally, as I was illegally watching the game, there was 170,000 of us, you know, inconsiderate fucks to these TV networks that are stealing money from them, right? And, you know, well, also, now I think about the NFL, it would really be hard to stream an NFL game when the Sunday ticket package is literally part of the NFL. But let's just say that's not how I get my NFL games. And I'm not outing myself because it is a lot of people that do the same. If a lot of people commit the crime, that means none of us do the time because that's a lot of paperwork. You know what? Don't blame me. Blame your prices. Woo! Yeah. I had to take some pre-workout for this episode. Because you know what? I want my energy to be on point. I realized I've been a little deficient in the energy department, you know? Because I got a lot of enemies. And I got a lot of people trying to drain me. That's what happens when you work 54 hours in a fucking week. You feel drained. Well, you know, actually, my father used to work 78 hours, you pussy. It's like, yeah, but, you know, at least there was a lot of benefits when you worked 78 hours back in the day. Nowadays, you know, you work people that work 70 hours and literally still in debt. Like, that's crazy. And, get a higher paying job. All right. But not everyone, there's only so many positions of higher paying jobs. But, I will say, observation I've made is, I've noticed this recently in my occupation, right? Like, I'm a very observant person. And you see lots of type of people, I work at a job where it's people of all age ranges, all different types, backgrounds. You get happy people, depressed people, people that you might think might hurt some people if you say the wrong thing. So, you get everything in a bag of plantains, right? And I think the relatable thing most people, if you've worked enough places, is the person that's working all day at these jobs, like 15 hours, they're typically older individuals. And they don't have a wife, they don't have kids per se, or they're probably divorced. Maybe they have kids, but maybe they're older or whatever. It's a weird phase in your life where if you're like middle age but you have children, even if you don't like your job, it makes it where it's like you feel that responsibility in a service. That even if you hate your job, at least when you're done with the day, your purpose is waiting at home for you. Jeez, look at Clint sounding gay as hell. Not there's anything wrong with being gay. But I'm just sorry. So getting rid of my, what is it called? Shit, I can't even think of the name. Fuck. You know what I'm talking about, where we ain't shit. Misogynist. Even though I know that's not really misogynist. It's just immature and childish, right? But, when you have children, you have a family, it makes all that working worthwhile, or at least you can rationalize it to yourself of why you're doing what you're doing to yourself. Then you get to that age where you're probably in your you start getting to that early 60s range where you don't have kids that you have to take care of anymore. You're divorced. Maybe you never had any of that, but for whatever reason, you're in a financial situation where you have to work. And you just see it. You see it on their faces. You see it in their body language. You see it. And it makes me look at, like, damn, like, how do I prevent becoming that person? I don't mean preventing becoming that person that has to work and all that shit, but I mean becoming that so disconnected from life, becoming that so drugged down where it just feels like you're doing all this just for minimal return. Like, how do you avoid that? I don't know people's financial, I don't know any of that. I don't know people's personal situation, right? But it makes it where it's like, everyone just needs to work and all this shit. And it's like, now I kind of like, if you get to that point in life, it's like, I'm doing all this to barely have anything. It's like, I might as well do nothing and just have a little less and live on the street, right? When you get to a certain point in your life, it's like, because the quality of your life still isn't great. And I don't know, it's just an observation I made where I feel for, people that get to that point in their lives where it's like, they're just doing it because they kind of have to, but they don't really have a purpose or a reason beyond just, I gotta just pay some bills or whatever the situation is. Like, I don't know, just an observation I made. But anywho, welcome to Whoville. Who goes there? Santa Claus. Is Santa your lawyer? Because I recommend he put a clause in your contract to pay your child support. See, that's how we know Santa isn't real. Because every guy with child support, but like, you know what? Just give them child support for the year. Santa's the definition of like an interest loan. He's like, hey, here's all this shit in your stocking for your kids. Oh, that's great. He's like, yeah, but you have to pay it all back and then some, because I just took it out of your account, and then you have to pay it back with interest because you didn't expect this. It's like, hey, how about you just pay my $10,000 I owe in child support this year? And he's like, oh, that's not what the Christmas spirit's about. It's about giving them these Tonka toys. It's about giving them these My Little Ponies. It's like, all right, well, how about you pay half the child support and give the kid a bike and call it a day? He's like, kids are too fat for the bikes. It's like, that's how you know Santa is like, well, Santa's there to actually bring the joy in life. You know, Santa's supposed to represent the taking out the all responsibilities. It's just supposed to be the kid. Like, Santa's supposed to be the little kid in you. He's supposed to be like, makes kids feel kids, the joy. A kid gets, well, I guess that's why. A kid gets nothing out of, hey, son, here's $10,000 I'm going to pay in child support, even though your mom already met someone who makes 3 times as much as I ever made and could easily afford, but because they won't claim you as their dependent on their taxes, I'm fucked. So here you go, son. That would be a weird explanation, right? And your son just be looking like, huh? But then when he gets 33 and already has 2 kids with 2 different women and realizes the situation, he's going to look back on that situation and be like, damn, I should have listened to my dad. He was laying the foundation and I just didn't want to listen. It's like these kids or these people that take steroids before they even ever actually squat more than 10 times in their life and establish at least a 200-pound squat. And they're like, let me just inject this shit. It's all about building the foundation, right? That's what they say. You got to build the foundation before you take her to Pound Nation. Because that's why typically kids are put in neglectful situations, right? But no, you know what? No good kid has ever came from a father who couldn't squat 225. That's a fact of life. Bro code. That's bro science. That'd be like, we used to have the fitness tests, like in schools and stuff, right? They used to have the fitness level tests and all that shit. The mem that you had to get, like, you had to run a mile within 7.5 or 8 minutes or whatever, or you had to be able to do 50 sit-ups in a 3-minute span, or do 20 push-ups without stopping, and these standards. What if we actually, it's like, okay, you know what, these adults that want to talk about to these kids in here, you know what, I'm protecting the generation below me, the kids that get shitted on for the school's low standards of health and shit. I'm coming after you old folks, and not real old, but the 30 plus, the 40-year-olds I always talked about. When I was a kid, we had to go to gym class and dribble between the legs and dunk, and dunk on a 12-foot goal to prove, those type of people. It's like, you know what? Fine. You want to hold kids that are 9 years old and to make sure they can do 20 push-ups for no fucking reason? Go ahead. But you know what? Next time you impregnate someone or you get pregnant, how about we hold you to a fitness level test? Because if they don't have the foundations, all right, let's see if that foundation is still within you. So you know what? If you can't do, by the day that your child is born, if you can't do, let's just say as a guy, if you can't do 18 push-ups without stopping, and you have an actual person there to have the ruler to make sure you go low enough, and if you can't get 18 push-ups off 3 different separate attempts you could try this set, then you know what? You are not the father, and not only that, You are on the hook for child support, but you can never see your child because you are such an imbecile and a bad influence, right? What if we did that? Huh? If you want to hold these kids to a high standard, hold yourself as a grown-ass adult to the highest standard. It's where we hold these kids and these young generations to these crazy standards of you got to do better than us, even though we didn't set a foundation for you to actually be able to realistically have the time or opportunity to do better than us. We're going to need you to say, hey, fuck what you did, but be better, right? Like, all right, since that's what we're doing, whoo, I'm farting like a bag. I'm just saying, just in general, don't hold people to a higher standard than you to yourself. It always amazes me. You know? Like Jesus. And look, I understand age, you get old, life changes. You know, you have priorities now, whatever the fuck that means. So you can't spend 8 minutes when you wake up belting out a few narrow push-ups on your carpet before you put your slippers on. Like, you know what? I get it. It's inconvenient. But you know what? Whatever. You'll be the same people that blame TV, that blame these companies for influencing your child for liking, you know, the trans blue clues and dressing up in drag, when if you would have just shown you could do some push-ups, maybe they wouldn't be dressing up in drag. You're dragging your kid down, and that's why they wear drag. Yeah. Whew. Clint's getting into it. Oh, Jesus. This podcast will be bought by Spotify within the next 3 years. I am manifesting it. Since, you know, people are in this manifesting culture. If you just say shit out loud, you're putting out in the universe. And if you say it, that means you'll unconsciously hold yourself responsible. And you will do everything it takes for that to succeed, right? I don't know. I just hate the word manifestation. Manifestation just sounds kind of not straight. I just don't think, I don't know, it's weird saying manifestation as a guy. It's like the definition of like spiritual cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs type of, you know, queens out there, as they say. I'm not going to call them names. I'm just saying you guys are split personality disorder. Same ones be like, you know what? If they ain't leveling up with you, they're going to level you down and level out your cortisol levels, which means your feminine levels, your feminine acquired traits that God gave you. You will never submit to a man if you don't level up. So, yeah, that's the type of shit they'll be saying. And just putting their face in front of an hour, 18-minute video and just being like, sprinkle, sprinkle. It's probably like some hex when they do that shit. They put the little, you know, look, and I'm not anti-spiritual feminine energy type of thing. I just think a lot of that shit is very, the goal of it isn't really to sell you some spiritual feminine, or even on the, to make it fair, on the reverse end, these quote unquote, spreading the masculine, not spiritual, because it's not typically what's attached to these type of things, but these masculine master classes, we'll just call them, where it's like, you know, a lot of these things are just, I just want people to understand, like anything, compared to gambling, which is like gambling, anything that's offered for a discount for you, nothing is done with the sole focus of you getting the better end of the stick. All right? If you were being sold a discount, they're benefiting from it. All right? If a gambling website is like, here's $25. just for playing. You know what? You know why they give you $25 a bet for free? Because they know you're going to spend that, and then you're going to double down more. Be like, oh, I can win a shitload today. It's human nature. It's psychology. And these people really think that they're selling you about your life, something they have no direct knowledge to, telling you like, hey, you just need to do better. Oh, maybe it's your everything around you that's your problem because of the energy that you've given off. It's like, or maybe it's like, you know what? The reason why you're in the situation you're in is because everyone else is holding you back. When it's like, oh yeah, because I didn't know you were the one there assessing the whole situation, psychic hand. All right. And the audacity of these bitches, you know, I don't know. The thing about these things is that their sole focus is they are selling the most general stuff to make you feel good and feel optimistic and not actually take responsibility for one situation, but to assess an overview of it's the energy around you. It has nothing to do with things that you have done that contribute to your situation not being easier. It is, it's something out of your control, which is honestly no different than religion. And all these spiritual guidance are supposed to be where people go that don't believe in religion or have a qualms about religion. And they use all these terms. Oh, you're a goddess. You're a queen. Just open your legs and let them get in between and you'll get everything you need. Oh, you know, that's probably the most realist advice that they probably could get. Poke it back and they'll poke your account. But you know, it's a lot of rationalization, which is no different than religion. When you get caught in that cycle of everything will be all right as long as you just do as I say and follow my guidance. Doesn't really sound a whole lot different now, does it? But yeah. Anyways, moving on. Well, I'm trying not to stay on the topic too long. I realize it's annoying to listen to someone talk 8 minutes about the same shit. Because I realized that when I've been listening to shit, I'm like, shut the fuck up. And then I'm like, man, I do that 3 times worse, actually. But yeah. Betty Boop looks like a prostitute. Even though I'm pretty sure she's characterized off Marilyn Monroe. And JFK says, ho, ho, ho. She will definitely assassinate something about you. I didn't know where I was going with that. But let's just say he had trouble dodging a few bullets. I mean, his wife, you know, to be fair, it didn't really seem like Jackie Kennedy cared too much about, you know, that. And then that's going to be some guy's rationale. Like, oh, well, honey, JFK had Marilyn Monroe as a side piece. What makes you think I can't have, you know, fill in the blank from Wingstop? Cherish. Can I get a lemon pepper order, please? We got to go to Drake's studio for you to get a feature for 10K. But your boyfriend's got to stay outside. I've mentioned that story like 18 different times on this podcast, and it never gets old. He definitely did slime you out. I didn't even know Drake dropped a single. You know, I knew Drake was dropping a single, but there was no promotion. There was no Spotify notification. There was no Google alert. Google alert will tell you an album's out when it's not, but won't tell you when an actual single comes out featuring SZA. Jesus. It was interesting, and you know, they're saying this upcoming album from Drake is going to be it's going to remind us of the old Drake. And the single, I can see why they would say that, because it's a lot of that Take Care type of singing, like, Samuel, take you down. I don't remember all the lyrics. I've only listened a few times, but the high notes is like, damn, Drake, his high notes don't sound the same. It might be all those, as he said in the One Views song with the DMX sample. I got a house full of alcohol and weed addiction. Well, when you hit the high notes, it sounds like it, but your bars are still bars. And then in the song, he just decides to do like the cardinal corny rule, but Drake can get away with it. And honestly, it kind of sounds like Drake just is kind of at that point where in some songs he's like, I really don't give a fuck how it sounds in terms of beat and rhythm. I just have this cool idea and I'm going to get it off in an instrumental. And because I'm Drake, I could fucking do it. Because when he did that whole like January, then February for the strings and the March in between. And then when he got to July, I couldn't stop laughing because he said, July. That's when I learned that. July. And then all I remember is like December repackaging, like so we could rekindle like a Kindle. It's like, I don't know. That part was, even for my Drake love, that part was a little, But you know what? It was a nice overall song. It was kind of off-putting, but you could kind of tell by the sound. Like, okay, you could see Drake trying to tap back into that old Drake, but you can still tell it's still not like that version of Drake. It's just a similar sound in a way. But yeah. Anyways, I forgot what I was talking about before. I don't know. We'll just move on. Oh, I love me a nice bouncy ball. So when she's doing Pilates, I say, hey, I like pie lattes because you're as sweet as pumpkin pie. And let me whip your cream into shape. All right. Yeah. Oh my Jesus. Apparently I learned that Iowa has a lot of Russian influence. Because I was informed, I'm not going to give too much of details, but I know someone that just ran like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm probably going to be moving to Iowa soon. And I'm like, I got a Hawkeye on you. The silence is deafening. And you know, that was a bad joke when the cat didn't even move its face one bit. It's looking the complete other direction in disgust. And I don't know this person. But I bet if I would shake some treats, she would be like, I said treats, and she's like, But no, I know someone's moving to Iowa. Just randomly, right? Just, hey, you know what? Yeah, by the way, I'll probably be moving to Iowa. Because, let's just say because of a job. But it's the same job they're doing now, but it's just in Iowa. And you know what? I was like, Iowa? He's like, yeah, because I was like, why Iowa? He's just like, He's like, I don't have anyone. The first thing he said to make sure it's clear is like, I have no one I'm tied down to. I have no kids. And he's like, you know what? And just because why not? And I'm like, you know what? Yeah. He said, I've lived everywhere in the South. I've looked at California and New York, but the taxes and the prices are insane. He's like, but you know what? Iowa? Yeah, sure. And I was like, okay. Well, that's where Slipknot's from. So, nothing could go wrong. But, and I was, there was an admiration because at first, it's like, at first I'm like, Iowa. And then I'm like, damn. After he explained, I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of a judgmental asshole. And I'm not saying I would never go to Iowa to visit or nothing. I have nothing against Iowa. But it's like, you could choose anywhere. Sorry for the interruption. This cat's trying to climb up to kill this friggin' bug. And I've got to look at it for the next 30 minutes. I'm like, why is this cat? Oh my God. The dumb things these cats, that's what you think. When I'm at work, this is probably what this cat's doing. It sees a slice on the wall. It's like, ooh, for playtime. But no, anyway, sorry for the interruption. This is how you know this is an unedited podcast. Shouldn't take too much pride in that. But yeah, Iowa. I kind of felt like an asswipe because I was like, damn, I made this judgment like what? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it's just like because, you can always move and have somewhere else, just somewhere to try. He's like, yeah, I've lived in the South. I've lived in almost all of the South states. I just kind of want to try somewhere else. I was like, yeah, it's probably the same, like price-wise. And he's like, yeah, it's pretty peaceful. And then somebody mentioned to me, like going back to the Russian part, is that he said that, yeah, like when I looked up and did a little research, it was like, there's a lot of like Russian, there's like a Russian part, like where the part that he's moving to, or where he would potentially be moving to. There's a lot of like, there's a lot of Russian, there's a Russian demographic there. And I'm like, in Iowa? I was like, well, that's probably where they hide the Russian spies until they need to be summoned for duty. And he's like, yeah, actually, probably. And he said it with such a straight face, and I'm like, oh, I was kind of joking, but but when I thought about it after I said it, I'm like, yeah, actually, Iowa would be a good place for that. It's like, that's probably where they try to hide, any Russian spies or anyone that, or people that, migrate to the USA and want to be low key. It's like, yeah, Iowa, if you get to Iowa, all the power to you. You just got to stay in Iowa, do what you got to do. And try to avoid Tornado Valley. Tornado Alley's not in Iowa. That's like Oklahoma and Kansas. But yeah. I'm pretty sure Tornado Alley is a lot similar like the Bermuda Triangle, where it's like, yeah, obviously it exists because there's been a lot of tornadoes over time, but I don't think like that area specifically, especially now global warming, those things have probably shifted. I'm not saying global warming exists. I'm just saying it's feeling pretty hot in September. I was just thinking, like, literally last year, like, around November, it was literally, like, single digits. Couldn't even feel my hands at work. Couldn't even feel, like, had to let my car heat for 20 minutes just to go in and out. And now September, a year later, it doesn't feel, like, there's no gradualness to get cold. Typically, you feel a gradual shift when you get cold. It's not supposed to be the seismic week by week, like, oh, it was 92 degrees and 84 low. That rains 4 times a month at most. And then just like 3 days later, 38 degrees. We're having freezing rain. Snow, boy. But yeah. I don't know. Tornado Alley, it kind of seems like because I remember kind of learning about it. It's been a while since I've rehashed on the subject. And you would think I would rehash on the subject before I talk about it on the podcast. But of course, I don't know what I want to talk about on the podcast, so it just kind of came up. And, I don't know, Tornado Alley kind of just feels like it seems pretty coincidental, and it's just like, hey, yeah, there's a lot of land here, and maybe that's why God made land there, because he knew that tornadoes would just go through there. But no, seriously, yeah, that and the Bermuda Triangle, I'm sure there's some comparisons because the Bermuda Triangle has actually been kind of debunked in terms of like everyone, like all these planes that go through there, they just disappear with no radar. No one's been able to track these boats and these airplanes that go through there, and they just disappear from the radar. They could think it's some Atlantis paranormal stuff going on. And it's really been debunked that just like, hey, like, yeah, winds are very tight up there. It's a very specific part. You go to certain parts of the day and year. it's very possible that just the clouds, they didn't know where going. Certain things failed. A lot of things have been detected as engine failures. And yeah, so a lot of that shit's unfortunately is probably more coincidental than it is what we want to believe incidental, right? And because think about it, if like it was truly like that, why would we keep flying over that stuff if we truly like all these things kept on happening? And I think it was actually proven there was actually another part of the ocean somewhere in the world, specific areas, a couple other regions that actually have a higher percentage or frequency of disappearing aircrafts, boats, and just missing things that held people in it and disappeared than the Bermuda Triangle. That would be like someone going, because apparently there's like, Hurricane Lee or Tropical Storm Lee that's going through certain parts. That'd be like if someone were to, if you were to drive an aircraft through that part, you know what? Odds are probably not in your favor. It's probably not. And you can't blame, because, that'd be like saying, tsunamis are created by paranormal from under the sea, when they just want to make a statement on land. Wouldn't be a bad idea. But yeah, that's a Poseidon of a problem I want no part of. But yepperoo, I got, damn, boys got some thighs on them. Oh, you can buy my chicken thigh, because it's been basting in vinegar for a week in the fridge, baby. So, it's going to have a nice tangy afterbite. Give me that orangutan, dang. But yeah. God, let me tell you something. When you start feeling weak as fuck from not eating enough when you are an avid lifter, it's a very mentally challenged thing. Very. Just thought I'd say it. Woo! I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh, yeah. So, if you meet a stray iguana and it comes up and starts licking your fungus toenail, does that mean National Geographic has the right to record it? Would you rather that or be on the cover of a National Geographic magazine where your toenail is being seductively licked by an iguana? Well, then maybe you'll be a version of a Joanna, man. Jesus. Gotta love the WNBA. It's funny how I remember it was literally like a week ago. It's funny how this podcast, I always say this like on these type of episodes. It's funny this podcast, like I just say something and it connects to something I recently observed. Maybe that's why I say it out loud. But they made this big deal about this WNBA player getting the full max, right? And I know the WNBA doesn't have a high payroll. But they made this like breaking news, like if it was Jimmy Butler that just got a 5-year, $230 million max, type of thing. And they say, I forgot the player. That's how much no one really keeps up with these things. And they said this player got the maximum contract in WNBA history that equated to $250,000. I was like, wow, that's fantastic. And I honestly mean that. Like, you know what? It just goes to show how far the NBA truly cares about women, like Michigan State and their coach, because that man just like, hey. So apparently the Michigan State coach, by the way, they lost like 41-7 today, so they might be missing this guy. So he might actually have some leverage here. But literally like a year and a half to 2 years ago, Mel Tucker signed, hey, stop it. Hey. Sorry. I'm trying to kill a cockroach near my book bag. I don't like that. But Mel Tucker signed like one of the biggest college football contracts, getting paid almost up there as much as like Nick Saban and Dabo. Getting like close, I don't think it was $100 million exactly, but it was pretty damn close for like, these college coaches begin those 8, 9, 10-year contracts, which is like, these 8, 9, 10-year contracts, it just seems like they never actually are ever a good idea. Like, how about just a 4-year contract? Like, give yourself like, so you don't have to do no crazy 6-year buyout when you have to fire. But, so allegedly, and really kind of confirmed, this man was with a staffer. And by staffer, it was like, I think if I remember correctly, like one of the teams, was it like team psychiatrist or something like that? Some counselor of some sort. Maybe like a guidance counselor for the football team. And so a little bit, for example, one story is literally like apparently the first incident happened where she gave like a speech in front of the team or whatever and all that. And not long ago, he gave her phone and he got her phone number. It was like, hey, great speech today. And she's like, oh, thanks. And then he's like, so would you like to link up? I got a... This man said, if you want to come to my hotel room and I could tell you how great that speech was, and let's just say I'm a advocate for free speech and you can have all the free speech you want tonight in here. Now I believe he's a married man, but no one actually cares about that. I don't even give a fuck about that. Let's focus on the good stuff, right? That's something he has to deal with. But he's basically confirmed like, hey, everything between us was consensual. So, apparently there was... she alleges all this stuff was one-sided, where it's like, oh, well, we didn't really have... Like, yeah, he called and would say things, but I would always just brush it off and play it off and never give into it. It's like, apparently you guys had a lot of phone calls that involved him having phone sex. I would think the first time, if you didn't like what he was saying, you probably wouldn't have accepted the next phone call and all this shit. So it seems kind of weird. And look, let's just call it. They linked up and they had some booty, goody, not a mess around. They like, come on. But gotta save face, gotta protect, and she's probably, let's be honest, trying to protect the way she does it because she may be able to get a settlement. And since he has a lot of money that's owed to him, but now apparently they may not owe it all to him, but we know how these legal stuff goes. They're going to fight. His lawyers are going to fight to make sure he gets what is guaranteed based off the bylaws he violated and all that shit. And he's going to get a decent amount of money, and she's probably going to want a chunk of it to settle it out of court. It's kind of weird, and I'm not, this is the part where it's like people are victim shaming. It's like, it doesn't, this is not a situation where a grown person was a victim. She was never forced to do anything. She negligently, if anything, she was very naive after a certain point, and that's the best you can say about it on her end, is that she had to be worried about her position and all that stuff. So you do things like, yeah, I don't want to lose my job. So I just like let him tell me how deep he wanted to get in my sleeve. I just didn't know what to say, these speaking gigs pay a lot, and I wanted to be there for the kids. And it's not to say, not to absolve them of anything, but let's just not. I just hate these situations. It reminds me very similar of the Ime Udoka thing. Except Ime's was a lot more flagrant. He was just like, I'm fucking all y'all. Apparently with this, it was just a one woman instance, and they allegedly mostly phone casualty situation, but I mean, come on. Who has phone sex multiple times and doesn't think about with the access that he has? Like, you think God in his position is just going to be satisfied with phone sex? Come on. Like, maybe the first time while he's sitting in the office and he's up late preparing for Western Michigan. But he's like, man, I know we're going to smash Western Michigan 48-7 tomorrow, but I need something to smash tonight, you know. She's like, oh, don't want to get you off your game, you know. He's like, look at you looking out for me. That's why you're the team psychic evaluator, wherever the fuck she is. But, you know, and that's the thing, right? It's like the weird thing with these situations is not that people are defending Ime or defending Mel Tucker for doing this when they're position of power. But what happens is the other people are protected and play innocent when they voluntarily participate in some on very, very many occasions. Especially Ime. Like, these women participate in these consistently. All the time, according to reports. It wasn't like a one-off or a couple. Like, this happened all the time. And it was consensual. Truly consensual. But then when all the stuff came down, he was chastised. He was essentially, you know, couldn't coach, suspended, fired, but wasn't fired because they couldn't technically do that without paying him. So they wanted to be in control, whatever the bullshit is. And the women were never identified. They were protected like they were victims. And really, they were probably protected because the organization didn't want to find out and embarrass the husbands or whoever, because then people would have connected and that would have been a shit show and it would have been an embarrassment overall. But it all came back to him and everyone else was protected. But the other people weren't victims. They participated some that they enjoyed just as much. And that's what it seems like with this Mel Tucker situation, is it is not to absolve him. If he gets fired, he deserved because he violated his contract and stuff. But whatever happens to him, whatever, it's going to happen. But to absolve them and make them feel like a victim where they're going to get some settlement saying, oh, the stress this has caused me, the defamation on my image, it's like, you called him daddy. Like, hey, I don't know what to tell you. You like a man in charge. And now he's about to charge it to the game. And that, kids, is how you fuck up a multi-million-dollar contract. Guys, sex fucks up everything for guys, especially with money. But you know what? Honestly, I get it. If you have that, I mean, broke homeless dudes cheat on their girlfriends. Like, you expect these guys getting paid $70, $80 million a year on the road with the stress of the world on them? And not look at a good-looking guidance counselor and be like, man, the things I would tell her to, make me feel good. Hoo-hoo. Like you do these kids on my team, which is why we're having a very successful run. Right? But yeah. College sports. Gotta love it. Oh, you gotta love it. My nose is stuffy. Stuffier than a stuffed crust, $13.99, Papa John's, garlic. Boom. God. Woo. Got more yolk in my throat than a egg white carton. Woo. Oh, just pop a hippie. Because I am from the 70s. And I feel like a 70-year-old sometimes. Oh, my God. But yeah. Oh. You know, there's a lot to be worried about out here. And I just want everyone to understand that all your worries are just a worry in the past. Because, you know, good things are on the horizon. I don't know who needed to hear that, but it sounds like a Panda Express fortune cookie. Like even, you know, fortune cookies. Like even fortune cookies have a marketed audience. That's what I'm saying. Like if you go to a regular takeout Chinese restaurant, the fortune cookie will be actually something that at least have like some like gratification meaning, like something that actually makes you maybe think, or at least like, oh, there's at least half a thought put into this. It was not an AI generated machine type of, it wasn't just like you type in a couple words in a text message and then it auto fills the rest. Where that's what these Panda Express fortune cookies are. Like literally the past 2 times I got on the Panda Express. One, I opened a fortune cookie with no fortune in it. I literally went back and they had this bucket full of fortune cookies. It's like this advertisement to apply there. And I took an actual fortune cookie because that's the only way I can actually get a fortune. And, which by the way, apparently Panda Express is paying a fortune for you to work there. It's kind of insane. But so I open the fortune cookie, and it was something along the lines of some basic ass shit. More basic than a basic white lady in some, you know, relentless brand outfit, wearing Elysium with those green yoga. It's more like an olive green yoga pants. It's like, I can see your pad through your cooch when you're doing those RDLs. And by the way, keep your knees narrow so your, you know, kneecap doesn't fall out. But shout out. I don't know why I shouted that out. That's no shout out. Because it's technically a fail. Yeah. This is why I don't mess with women's body parts. Just keep your nose clean, kids. Because that's an itch you don't want to get from a big... Oh, I'm trying to... Whew, that was too easy for the taking. You know what I was going to say. But basically the fortune cookie said... I guess really her clam is more like a fortune cookie because you pull a fortune out and it says, hey, your attitude is great. And I say, yeah, but that booty is greater. But no, it would be something like basically the fortune cookie. I wish I had it on me. It was something along the lines of, you have a winning attitude. That's essentially the gist of it. If you were to get a real fortune cookie that have the same, it would at least say your attitude is what brings a winning culture to everyone that comes in your presence, right? It would be some weird shit like that where it's like, oh, it is your attitude makes others feel like you're a winner. And it makes them feel like they're attached to greatness. Or some weird shit like that. Like, or it'd be something like your determination will pay off when it's ready. Or your determination will pay off when you expect it the least. You go to Panda Express, it'll be like, you'll be fine. That's it. You'll be fine. They are almost like a YouTuber who is so protective of their brand, so general, like these people that hate Mr. Beast all of a sudden. But where it's like you have such a clean image, you don't even want to say anything that could veer in one direction. It's so generic of a sphere of a Venn diagram that there is no one you can offend, and there's nothing that makes people feel high or low. It is just, I'll be fine. Because other ones may make you think. It could be like, man, is my life really worth, doing what I'm doing? Am I really doing what I need to do? And Panda Express, like, just pay for an overpriced orange chicken. Just don't look at how much you're paying here. You'll be fine. You have a winning attitude. You can afford this. When really it's like, you're not a broke boy. You can buy an extra entree. But yeah. Like even fortune cookies are becoming generalized. Like the specificness of fortune cookies is what makes the fortune cookie worthwhile. And then they have the audacity to put on the back of the sheet, they put Panda Express trademark logo, so no one can like take that shit and market it as their own. Like, you're really gonna trademark you'll be fine? You have a winning attitude? You think you trademarked that? The fucking ego of Panda Express to think that they created positive reinforcement. You'll be alright. But they trademark it like they created the saying. You didn't create the words. And you're going to profit off it? Like people that, profit off religion when they didn't write a single fucking word or original thought of it. But yeah, they're the ones making millions of dollars when they've just read the same book that every other person of that religion has read. I don't know. Seems kind of hunky-dory because I'm a hunk. And, hey, I see Dory. They still never made a Finding Nemo 2. And there was rumors for like 12 years, like Finding Nemo 2's on the way. It's like, alright, cool. I think they did make a Dory movie. Well, also, it would be kind of hard to make a movie with Dory because now Ellen will probably, make her fishy friends that she's trying to find and make them feel uncomfortable in the workplace called the whole fucking ocean. Because it'll be the tip of the iceberg. I don't even know if Ellen is still doing the show. Like, I know there was a big controversy around the way she treated her staffers and her being toxic. It's like, oh, so she was a boss in a workplace? Oh, okay. And I don't remember all. I know she wasn't a great person. And her persona made it worse. Like James Corden. Where apparently this dude is fucking just like the dicks of dick. Even if he can't see his own. Like the server store where he treated a restaurant like shit. Like, dude, like this isn't get your hands out of the pan. Jesus, this cat. Like, they only want to do shit when you're busy. Like, they know what they're doing. Yet all day the nibble in the egg. Hey, stop it. Sorry, audience. But yeah, oh, look at those eyes. But then, like, now, speaking of another late night, like, I've only read, but there was actually rumors about this for years and years. Cause I remember I would see these stories, but I didn't know if they were real. But it'd always be like New York Post or some gossiping type of sites, or it'd be like Jimmy Fallon is a drunk. He has a drinking problem. It's like all you have to do is like kind of just look at him and watch like half a show. Be like, yeah, this dude definitely drinks, but obviously he's able to do the show or whatever, so no one really cared all that much, but. Now it's like apparently hit where I don't know if his show's getting canceled or what, but apparently it's like to a point where it's very concerning. So it's like, oh, a guy drinking in his office before going on his show and doing a deer. Ah, jeez, I forgot that segment. Jesus Christ. But yeah. This cat is licking the eggs. Oh my God. This is disgusting. I'm sorry. Man, see, I just got sidetracked. You know what? And this is probably about the time a late night show would end, where the band would play. So I think this is when I'm going to end, because I've literally got a cat licking my cast iron skillet that I hand wash, you nasty fuck. God damn it. It's crazy the things that I want to actually talk about. Drunk Jimmy Fallon, but you know what? I got to take care of this situation. So I'm about to throw in the Jersey Shore reminder. It could always be worse. Wow. All right. Well, let's just say Snooki. She's definitely got a smelly cookie. But yeah, that was episode from all the spray tan, because of all the megulite in it. But yeah, that was episode 218 of the Off and Beat podcast with Clint Nelson. I'm your host, Clint Nelson. Don't forget to like, follow, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. But most important, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to suck some titties and keep your cat out of the kitchen so they don't lick your iron skillet from the leftover egg wax in it. So yeah, that's a burning candle. All right, have a great day.